Welcome back to Golf Xtra. Lee Westwood has never been one to keep his opinions to himself, but a recent spat between Westwood and a DP World Tour golfer has golf fans everywhere refreshing their phones for the next volley in this war of words. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more videos just like this one. Now let's get right into the recent online battle between Lee Westwood and Eddie Pepperell. When Lee Westwood moved over to LIV Golf after a long and distinguished career on the PGA Tour and the DP World Tour, also known as the European Tour, the questions as to why were natural. At the time, Westwood's responses were typically honest for the longtime pro, who said, "I think when you're working, you've got to do your work to suit your own life. Obviously, cash comes into it. I've said all along, when I stood in front of everybody at Kiowa Island in a press conference at the 2021 PGA Championship, if anybody came in front of me with that kind of money, it's a no-brainer for me." He added that the potential to play with friends was important, saying, "I know Bryson, I know Phil, I know DJ a lot better than I used to know them. We've all come much closer together. We mix a lot more. It reminds me of how the European Tour used to be 25 years ago. You know, that kind of camaraderie." Meanwhile, DP World Tour player Eddie Pepperell, often outspoken on social media himself, had few nice things to say about LIV Golf back in a July 2022 podcast appearance, saying, "It's like they're trying to deal the PGA Tour and DP World Tour a slow death by 1,000 paper cuts." Pepperell also added, "I'm somewhat exasperated why anyone who's under the age of 35 would go. It's not surprising that all of this animosity eventually boiled over, especially when a little bit of kindling was added to the fire. Everything started back in mid-August, when Lee Westwood reposted an official World Golf Ranking tweet with a laughing face emoji. Westwood isn't just in a good mood, he was seemingly mocking the rankings, considering that they don't recognize LIV Golf events in their calculations. As such, Westwood and many other formerly high-ranked players have seen their rankings plummet since they defected to the rival tour, something that factors in heavily when determining qualifications for many key tournaments, including majors. Evidently, Westwood was referencing this with his tweet, and it's not surprising that he wouldn't be happy about it. Westwood wasn't the only one who wasn't happy, though. Eddie Pepperell saw Westwood's tweet, and something ironic came to his mind immediately. That is, Westwood hasn't necessarily been doing enough on the LIV Tour to boost his OWGR ranking, even if those tournaments were included in the calculations of the rankings. Westwood even finished last in the LIV event preceding his tweet, which was held in New Jersey. That's right, Westwood was 48th out of 48 participants, but yet Westwood still took home a tidy sum of $120,000 for his efforts. This was more than enough to draw the ire of Pepperell, who responded to Westwood's mocking OWGR tweet with a tweet of his own, which read, "I'll tell you what's a joke, Lee. You earning 3 times the average annual UK salary in 1 week for shooting plus 20 over 3 rounds." Pepperell is echoing a common talking point among PGA Tour members, who commonly say that LIV Golf has made a mockery of the competitive spirit of professional golf by rewarding players with huge financial gains even for playing poorly. Westwood wasn't laughing, though, clapping back at Pepperell with a reply tweet which read, "PIP? Missed that one, did you? Monday Simulator Games? Missed that one too?" What Westwood is referring to are a couple of different initiatives that the PGA Tour is undertaking in order to increase interest in golf, as well as to bump up compensation to its top players, largely in order to compete with LIV Golf and to prevent the rival organization from poaching its players. The PIP is referring to the Player Impact Program, under which the PGA Tour financially rewards their most popular players, as determined by television and social media exposure, as well as overall fan interest. This means that 20 players who fit those criteria are rewarded throughout the season with additional financial bonuses just for participating in certain tournaments, regardless of how well they perform in those events. In addition, the Monday Simulator Games is referring to the TGL, which is a partnership between the Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroy-led Tomorrow Sports Group and the PGA Tour. The TGL will feature head-to-head match play between teams of 18 total PGA Tour players and will bump up the revenue for participating players and hopefully grow fan interest. Even though this idea is exciting for many fans of golf, evidently Westwood isn't too happy about it, and neither is Pepperell, who responded via Twitter, "It's all laughable, from you earning $100K last week for playing like a turnip to the TGL PIP. Pro golf has degraded itself to being just about the money. Maybe it always has been and I'm naive, but it isn't doing much to improve the sport and genuinely growing the game. Finished the exchange, Westwood finally replied, "You know who's responsible for all this? Me and Ian Poulter asked all the questions at the players' meeting at Wentworth, and you sat right in front of me bowing your head like a nodding donkey while DP World Tour Chief Executive Keith Pelly was spouting his political head master shite." We'll go ahead and give Westwood the victory in this interaction, considering that Pepperell didn't respond, but there seems to be plenty of bad blood between the two players based on this contentious back and forth. This kind of frostiness makes some of the future overlap interactions between players from the PGA Tour, DP World Tour, and LIV Golf extra interesting, as we could get some spiciness on the course between these rival groups, as we did with Pepperell and Westwood. One of those potential overlaps could come in the Ryder Cup, although Westwood has already been removed from the Ryder Cup team due to his LIV move, despite his storied history as a part of the European team. In a recent interview, Westwood commented on his Ryder Cup future, saying, "At the age of 50, I think I'm probably too old to play Ryder Cups. You definitely aren't going to get 36 holes a day out of me. After 11 Ryder Cups, I think I've done my bit for earning points. Clearly, I would like to be Ryder Cup captain at some stage, but I'm of the opinion that the Ryder Cup should be the best 12 players in Europe against the best 12 players from America. It shouldn't be used as a bargaining chip to make people play on certain tours and encourage people to play on certain tours." He succinctly finished his comment with a sentiment shared by many golf fans by saying, "It should be pure competition between the best 12 playing the best 12. In the same interview, Westwood also commented on his future as a part of the larger professional golf world, considering the potential completion of a merger between LIV and the PGA Tour, saying, "I'd have to see how the next few months go and how the discussions go and what stipulations are put in place. Clearly, having resigned my membership, I want to play the LIV Tour. I'm happy to play International Series events." Not including the Ryder Cup, Westwood may still get that wish. He continued, "I'm happy with the decision I've made. I'm very lucky to be in the stage of my career where I don't have to do something I don't want to do. If the options were right for me to play DP World Tour events, then I would probably rejoin, if the rules changed slightly. If they didn't, then I'm happy where I am." He finished his comments on the subject by sharing an optimistic viewpoint on LIV's future place in the sport, saying, "I think the LIV Tour holds most of the cards. When Jay Monahan came out and said he wanted to work with the LIV Tour and Keith Pelly, the head of the DP World Tour, agreed with that, although we've not heard much from Keith since, it seems it is acceptable to be a player on the LIV Tour. There's not the stigma that they tried to portray there was. Depending on how the discussions go over the next months and the framework they hammer out, I think if it goes through, then they'll come to some agreement where players can come over to play on LIV, and if it doesn't go through, then I think it puts LIV in a stronger place. No matter what happens, one thing is sure: Westwood will always let his opinions fly." Comment with your thoughts and make sure to subscribe for more content like this. We'll catch you in the next one.